Acres. In today's video, it's going to have some ups and downs. With any farm, there's going to be moments of, life coming to the world, and there's going to be moments where that life inevitably ends. And it's hard for everyone, and nobody wants to see that or feel the hurt from that, but it is something that happens. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the good news first, and then we're gonna kind of end with the bad news, just because it's not something everybody wants to hear. And so maybe if you don't want to watch till the end, then you don't have to, but we're going to go with the good news first, and so we're going to start there. For those of you who haven't met Ridley yet, hold on 1 second, okay? This is Ridley. This is our little doeling. She'll be a year old in May. We just recently added her. She comes from some really, really, really good milk lines, and she's just a sweetheart. We got her about 2 weeks ago now, and she is really, fitting in well and doing really well, and we're really, really happy we got to add her to our farm. We're going to go ahead and we are going to get Persia, Pocahontas, and Dixie up here. We have started a couple weeks ago. We put our milk stand out here in our feed room, and every day I feed the girls their grain up on the milk stand. It just gets them in the routine of coming from the pen up into the feed room or milk room, and then getting up on the milk stand every day. And while they're up there, we pet them. For Dixie and Pocahontas, they're going to be first fresheners this year. Excuse me. And so we've been, just feeling their udders and rubbing them down, touching their legs, just getting them used to being touched and felt. So that way, hopefully, when we do start milking them, it'll just be a little bit easier process on them. So yeah, we're going to go ahead. We'll start with Persia. We'll start with Persia. We'll talk a little bit about her due date and maybe, how many kids we think she's going to have, and then we'll go from there. And then, like I said, we will end this video with some bad news. I'll try to give you guys a warning before we start talking about the bad news, just so that way, if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. But yeah, thank you guys so much for those of you who do watch our videos, and for those of you who have subscribed. We really enjoy making videos. I know we haven't posted very many lately. We're going to start trying to post again at least once a week. We're going to try to post twice a week. It just depends on how life goes. Things have been kind of crazy here. But yeah, we'll go get Persia up on the stand, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is Persia. She will be 6 months old, I believe, this month, or it might be next month. I'll have to look and double check. She came back into heat in November, and so I have wrote down for her that her due date is going to be April 4th. We got her back in 2022. She came to us in milk, and we milked her, and then we ended up breeding her, and she had quads for us in November of 2022. And then in 2023, we originally sold her, not because there was anything wrong with her or anything. It was just because we had made the decision, I made the decision, I wanted bigger goats that we could use not only for milk, but for meat. And I ended up selling all of our Nigerian dwarfs, and we got 2 Nubians. They didn't really work out. We didn't like them as much as we like our Nigerians. And so we ended up selling the Nubians, and we got back into the Nigerian dwarfs, and we were actually able to purchase Persia back, Aladdin, which is one of our bucklings that we had sold as a bottle baby back in 2023, in the spring of 2023. And then we got Pocahontas back. If you hear the girls, they're throwing a fit because they don't want to wait their turn to get in here to their grain. But Persia is very, very wide. She's wide, she's long, she's very deep-bodied. She didn't look that big whenever she had quads, and so I didn't think she was going to have maybe twins, because that was what she had the year before we had gotten her. She had twins. I'm not entirely sure how many kiddings she's had. I know she's had the one before we bought her, because she was still in milk when we bought her, and then the kidding that we had with her where she had quads. So gauge-wise, I have no idea how many babies this girl's gonna have. I'm gonna say twins. She might have triplets, she might have quads. I'm not really sure. We're just kind of keeping an eye on her. You know, she is starting to get a little meaty in her udder. She hasn't really started really, growing that udder bump just yet, but she's not due until April, so she still has some time. But yeah, Persia is just a super sweet girl, and she is from some really, really good genetics as well, and we are really excited to see what she has this year. Okay, so this is Pocahontas. She is going to be 2 years old this year in November. This is going to be her first freshening. She's already got quite a little udder bump kicking. I'll have to get a shot of that. And this girl right here, today is Monday, March 11th, and she is due, her due date that we have down for her is March 12th. And just from yesterday, her sides are already sunken in, and she was already starting to feel squishy. I feel her ligaments, but they are getting squishy. So we are just going to be keeping an eye on her little udder to just, blossom or bloom, or I don't know what they call it, honestly. And we're going to be checking for ligaments, keeping a nice feel on that, and just keep a real close eye on her. Being a first freshener, I really, really want to be there for her first time, just in case anything were to happen. I could be there to help if I needed to. She's pretty wide. I'm going to say that she is going to have twins, which I hope she does. It'd be great. I guess I'm kind of biased either way. It doesn't really matter what she ends up having, just because of the fact that we aren't going to be retaining any kids from her, and we're not actually going to be keeping her either. Pocahontas has an extra teeth that I missed, because Pocahontas was born here on our farm in 2022 by, with Persia and our buck that we had. His name was a Colt 45. I could have sworn I checked everybody over really well, but for some reason I just missed Pocahontas, and I did not realize that she had the extra teeth. And I even sold her with Persia and Aladdin, which is our herd sire we have now, to some friends of mine, and they never had noticed that she had an extra teeth. And when we bought her back, I didn't even notice until it was after we had built our milk stand and we had already bred her. I had her up on the milk stand and I was trimming hooves, and that's when I noticed the extra teeth. And at that point, it was already too late. She was already bred, and it was just one of those things that, you just learn your lesson. From now on, I'm going to be checking kids over very, very well, and hopefully we don't have any of those problems or flaws, I guess you would say. But because of that extra teeth, Pocahontas is registered, but she will be going to a pet-only home, and we are going to be shredding her papers. We just don't want to take the chance, with extra teeth. If their mom has it, there's a 50-50 chance that their kids will have it. And then, even the kids that don't have extra teeth, there is a 50-50 chance that they will pass on the extra teeth. And for Nigerian dwarfs, or most dairy goats really, having extra teeth is considered, a flaw. It is not. It's highly frowned upon, and some breeders even call goats that have extra teeth. They'll eat them, or if they notice them when they're little, they'll put them down. It's just one of those things that you don't want to breed into your animals. You're not gonna want to purposely breed flaws. It's just not something that you want to do. So she will be going to a pet-only home, and all of her kids will be the same. They'll go to a pet-only home as well. We haven't lined up a pet-only home just quite yet. Once she kids and we kind of see what she has. We do have someone who might be interested in a doeling from her if she were to have a doeling. It's a bummer because Pocahontas is my baby. She is the kid that I wanted to retain from Persia back in 2022. We had planned on keeping her, and then when we decided to make the switch, we sold her. But that's why we still had her. We had sold all of the other kids, but we still had her and one other doeling, but the other doeling went somewhere else, and then Pocahontas went with Persia to some friends of ours. And so, we could technically keep her around and keep breeding her, or, just keep her as a pet, but, we only have 2.5 acres, and we only have, so many spots that we could fill with animals, and, we don't have the funds to just, feed out, a bunch of pets. That's not what we're doing here. We're really trying to, farm, ranch, or, have a homestead, whatever you want to call it. We are trying to provide for our family. And, we love our animals, and we try to give them the best possible care that we can and the best life that they can have. But at the end of the day, we don't have pets. We have 2 barn cats, but they are, their purpose in life is to kill mice. And then we have, 1 dog that's a pet, and then we have our beagles. We hunt with them, and then we have Toby, our Great Pyrenees, and he is our livestock guardian. So we just don't have a lot of pets. And we don't have room for a lot of pets, and we just can't afford a lot of pets. So we are going to do our best to find her a really, really nice home. But yeah, so ultimately, Pocahontas will not be sticking around, and we will not be keeping any of her kids. So this is Dixie. She will be 2 years old, I believe, in October. I'd have to look. I'm not the greatest with remembering their birthdays, but she is due in. I'm tongue-tied. She is due March 13th, so Wednesday. Today's Monday. Her due date is Wednesday. We didn't know for sure if she was going to be due in March or if she was going to be due in April. When we bought her back in October of 2023. She was put in with the owner's buck that we bought her from, and she was bred like a day or two before we went and got her. So we weren't sure if it was going to take, and she was going to be due in March, bred by that buck, or if she, because Persia came back into heat, and I had thought Pocahontas had come back into heat as well. So we went ahead, because we didn't want to leave her out by herself, considering we had just got her, and we had just got kind of the pecking order established, and the girls were really starting to get along, and She started, she wasn't getting picked on all the time, so I didn't want to separate her out. And so we went ahead and just made the decision that we would go ahead and just put our buck in with all three of them. And we would know that if she were to kid in March, that means that she was bred by the Silverton is his name. He's a really, really gorgeous silver buck with just amazing genetics behind him. Or if he was bred by Aladdin, which is our buck, then she would be her next heat cycle that she would have been bred by Aladdin. So then she would be due in April. So we would be able to tell for sure, March. If she kids in March, she's obviously bred by Silverton. If she kids in April, then she would be bred by Aladdin, which is our buck. And right now, she's got a nice udder kicking. Her sides are starting to sink in. She's dropped. I'm going to say that she's due, sometime this week. Her due date's the 13th, and so it's going to be pretty close to that. I'll have to get a video or a picture of her little udder. It is just the cutest little first freshening udder, and she has a moon spot right on one of her teeth. So it looks like she has, chocolate milk on one side and, maybe, white milk on the other. It's just super cute. But anyways, yeah, so she is going to be due March 13th. Pocahontas is due March 12th. And then Persia, please stop. She doesn't like that. You're scaring her. And then Persia is due April 4th. So yeah, that is all of the, and I'm going to guess either a single or maybe possible twins for Dixie. I'm not real sure. We'll just kind of have to see, what happens. Yeah, so that is all for, I guess the good news, just kind of going over the girls' due date and kind of predicting what we think they are going to have. So if you're one of those people that doesn't really like to hear bad news and you would like to not hear the bad news that we have for y'all today, then I would go ahead and just end this video here. It's not, it's not something that, we're just going to be showing horrible graphic stuff or anything like that. It's just, sadness, and, some people don't like to deal with sadness. And so if you are one of those people, then, thank you so much for watching until this point.